It quickly became clear to me that the mainstream media was oh so disappointed yesterday. They wanted violence, rage in our nation's capital. They wanted to declare, see, I told you so, those evil Trump supporters at it again. So when it didn't happen, they resorted to an old trick. Just keep reminding people about the, quote, insurrection and just how awful Trump supporters are. In one of the most bizarre segments I have ever seen on MSNBC, Ali Velshi is trying to call attention to the Capitol security breach of January 6th. He got caught trying to explain away his ridiculous, quote, generally speaking, not unruly comments. Remember that he made 7 months ago while standing in the middle of a riot in Minneapolis? Listen to him try to explain this.
I was concerned that the impression a viewer might get from watching a police station overcome and of buildings burning was that of a riot, or that Minneapolis itself was burning, and it wasn't.
But it was burning. Buildings burning and a police station being overcome. Ali Velshi is the exact definition of a riot. And still, even now, all these months later, Ali Velshi proves there is no reasonable explanation for the comments he made that could only be uttered by an imbecile. Here's a reminder in case you forgot what he said.
This is mostly a protest. It is not, generally speaking, unruly, but fires have been started.
So I wanted to emphasize that there had been and remained an overwhelming majority of the protesters who were peaceful and not participating in any violence.
All right, he reminds you that with flames behind him. This is all laughable. And again, it highlights the double standard in the mainstream media. Just as the Capitol security breach does not represent the 74 million people who voted for President Trump or the tens of thousands who showed up for the Trump rally on January 6th in D.C., 99% of whom remained peaceful. Just listen to Velshi spin himself yesterday deeper and deeper and deeper into a hole.
Why is there widespread revulsion at the violence at the Capitol when I and others have spent months trying to say that violence can be a necessary part of protest? Well, for starters, the Capitol is not a liquor store. When someone breaks its windows, it's not criminal mischief. It's an assault on democracy and decency.
So Ali Velshi just said right there, it's okay to break windows and even burn down businesses people worked a lifetime to build, but it's not okay to break windows at the Capitol, a building actually owned by the people. But how about this for a comment that he should say? All of it's wrong. Both places. Violent riots is not the way you demand action or change. It's animalistic behavior. But Velshi just can't bring himself to denounce left-wing violence. In fact, he actually promotes it.
Violence that means to spread democracy and injustice and encourage fairness in the application of the rule of law has nothing at all in common with the wanton anti-democratic riots of January 6th.
Until it's your liquor store, Velshi, they burned down. And by the way, it has everything in common. It's all wrong. You don't destroy property, beat up people, murder security guards or police officers. That is not the American way, unless you're a leftist, where months on end of violence and destruction is tolerated by liberals and their media workhorses. We saw it again in Portland, as we've been telling you tonight. I will just ask you this. Could you imagine the outcry from the mainstream media if I, a conservative, primetime host, declared what Velshi does, that some violence by rioters is okay as long as it's used as a means to, quote, spread democracy and encourage fairness? Because that's how you encourage fairness? Burn down some poor soul's business? If I made that nonsensical, dangerous comment that Velshi does, I would be fired, and I should be. Instead, he'll probably get some MSNBC promotion. More liberal hypocrisy, but why in the world should we be surprised? Still